Hi, I was asked to come up with some basic pistol reloading stuff, talk about reloading and do a basic instructional video as to reloading. I'm John, started rifle reloading. I've only been reloading pistol for about 2 years, and I started mass reloading pistol rounds and rifle rounds about a year and a half ago to use in competition shooting. I've been reloading precision loads for most of that time for my 308 to save money, and which is why most of you are probably watching this video to learn how to reload to save money. So we're going to talk about what you need to get started first, and then we're going to talk about what the processes are, how important each process is, and then we're going to go ahead and do some instructional videos as to each step of the process. So let's go ahead and dive in. Talk about a little bit of the reloading process. I'm going to start by talking about reloading safety. Reloading is inherently dangerous, just like anything that comes to firearms. You're working with explosive components, flammable components, corrosive components. All kinds of stuff can happen, all kinds of bad things can happen. You got to be very careful and diligent every time you're working with reloading ammunition and firearms. So, some basic safety precautions: always wear eye protection. Anytime you're working with any kind of things with firearms, you should wear eye protection because you got literal explosions happening. So when you're reloading, if you're doing a good job, no explosions will happen, you'll be fine. And then you wear these just in case. I have had things happen, and pretty much all my other reloading compatriots that I know have had primers explode. When you reload in large volumes, after a while, it just happens. Sometimes it's unforeseeable. Sometimes you just gotta buy a bad primer. Sometimes you push too hard on the primer seating. It's completely random. Sometimes it's your fault. Sometimes it's the primer. In either case, when this stick is loaded up with 100 primers and something happens in there, it'll explode. It'll explode bad. It won't have a super amount of pressure because it's hollow at both ends, but it'll explode enough to hurt you and send shrapnel. And shrapnel is bad for your eyes. So always wear eye protection. Gloves, you want to wear gloves, and because you're working with a lot of lead. A lot of these components have lead in them, and a lot of these components send lead into the air. If you are an avid shooter like me, you want to reduce your lead exposure as much as possible, so you're going to want to not grab onto things that are covered in lead, like bullets and powder. So always wear gloves when reloading. As an added precaution, if you reload as much as I do, you should have an air purifier in the room that you are reloading. I have an air purifier running. I don't know if you can hear it. It's not very loud. It's a relatively quiet one. But you always want an air purifier running in the room if you're going to do a lot of reloading, like I do. Lead particles will be floating out the air. Lead exposure is bad. That's bad for you. Finger safety. Even though you're wearing gloves, when you're operating that press and you're trying to go really quick, be very careful not to get your fingers stuck in the press. I've known people to literally cut cookie cutter holes on their fingers, exact size and shapes of the case neck opening, and it just takes little cookie cutter chunks out of their fingers and flesh. Don't do that. It bleeds a lot. It leaves scars. It's no good. Sometimes you'll lose the feeling in the top of your finger completely. Always be mindful of where your fingers are when you're operating your press, especially if you're running a progressive press and you're not used to running a progressive press. Luckily, I have only given myself nasty blisters using the turret press occasionally when I was trying to move really quick, but avoid that entirely. Know where your fingers are. Keep your fingers out of the press. As a disclaimer, I do not claim to be an expert at reloading. I am not a professional reloader. I reload as a hobby, as part of my shooting sports, because I'm a competitive shooter. By no means am I saying that this is correct or 100% absolute reloading information. This is not official reloading information. I am not a professionally trained reloader. I am simply making this at the request of some people that asked me to give them some reloading tips and some advice on how to get started, and I have absolutely 100% no legal liability if you somehow blow your finger off or something by following what I said. Everyone has things happen sometimes, such as primers blowing up and stuff, but as long as you follow the safety precautions that I was talking about, then you should have protected yourself from those kind of issues. If not, then use common sense. Use common sense when you're reloading. Don't take my word as gospel. I'm just trying to help people get started and give you an idea of what reloading is going to be like and give you an idea of what the steps are to do it. I am not a professional reloader instructor by any means. Always go to the reloading book. Always follow the book's instructions. Always follow the steps in order. Always inspect your cases. I can't stress that enough. Reloading is dangerous, especially when you're new and inexperienced. Always follow the ladder testing. Start 10% below max load. Always work your way up. Every rifle is different. Every pistol is different. Never go below 10% charge, because then you can have a secondary explosion down your barrel. Bad things can happen. But again, I am not a professional reloader. I am a hobbyist. I'm just trying to help out other people that are trying to get into the hobby of reloading.